9 on the field, 16 on the bench, 15 in the minors. There's only so much teams can do to boost a 40-man roster. If they add one piece, they have to subtract another. What if a team took a new approach though? Instead of improving their roster one piece at a time, they improved each and every one on it. Jamie McIsaac takes us inside of a revolutionary new program and the advantages it may bring to the Blue Jays.
The new high-performance department implemented by Mark Shapiro and Angus Mugford this offseason will be a game-changer for the Blue Jays. It's a player-centered program designed to integrate all aspects of a player's performance under one umbrella, from strength and conditioning to nutrition, as well as mental health and injury rehab. The ultimate goal, of course, is to get the absolute most out of players on the field and, in turn, to win.
It represented an opportunity to both gain a competitive advantage and to make a cultural statement that our players are at the center of everything we do, that will spare no resource possible to help them perform at their peak performance and beyond the field.
All of those resources, with sports science at the helm of that to help us inform decisions around each individual.
But each Blue Jay has his own unique set of needs, both physical and mental. So with the information gathered over time, Mugford's department will aim to tailor a specific plan for every player in order to establish their goals.
It's just great that we have people that want to help us and that want to teach us new things and give us direction in order to maybe extend our careers or help us perform at our highest level on the field.
Now, this program has been implemented by many professional teams, especially at the national level with Olympic athletes, but it has been slow to catch on throughout the majors. However, that should not come as a surprise, as baseball has been traditionally slow at adopting new ways of thinking and improving the game. From Toronto, I'm Jamie McIsaac.
Before the trade deadline, the Blue Jays were, well, just another way to spend a Tuesday night with your buddies. Afterwards, they became the hottest ticket in town. TV ratings went through the roof, ticket sales quadrupled, and merchandise flew off the shelves from coast to coast. Now that opening day is upon us, Luca Celebre shed some light on the anticipation that's been building all winter long.
It's truly incredible what kind of effect the power of winning has on a city and its fan base. Although the Blue Jays didn't win the World Series last season, they laid the groundwork to reestablish a winning culture that's been absent for over 20 years. Despite some key losses in the offseason like Alex Anthopoulos and David Price, the 2016 Jays squad is still full of charisma, character, and talent, which has Toronto fans extremely excited for the upcoming season.
I'm excited to see if we can win a World Series this year. We definitely have the team to do it.
With the excitement they had last year, with the whole Game 5 against Texas, with the bat flip and the excitement, how can't you be excited?
This is definitely another year we have a chance to win it all. So enjoying the big team we'll have out there, because I don't know how long it's going to last.
Success for Toronto's major sports teams has been hard to come by since the Blue Jays won back-to-back titles in '92 and '93. After the magical run the team had last season, though, it's understandable that the expectations and pressure for this season from not only Torontonians, but from this entire country as a whole, has increased significantly.
Being in Toronto, it's not been a winning city. We finally have a team that's a favorite to win, and I think the fans are really going to be embracing it.
We're finally good again, and we have the team to really win a championship, and everyone's really excited about that.
We're Canada's team here, so we need to stay strong and show America that Canada is serious about baseball too.
I think Toronto needs a team to win something. So they were our last hope.
While optimism is in the air for the 2016 season, it can all go away in an instant. According to the Blue Jays, the team sold out just 7 home games before their final 21 home contests of the season, further proving the age-old adage correct, that winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. From Toronto, I'm Luca Celebre.
For decades, Toronto has been caught in one of the most competitive divisions in all of baseball, and this season boasts to be no different. For their thoughts on how 2016 will play out, we turn to our experts of the AL East.
Thanks, I'm Carl Alvazette, and I'm joined by Simon Wells, Matthew Lewis, and Hannah Nordman. And as we look at this 2016 season for the Blue Jays and what they can build on from last year, it's really important to look at the rest of the division. And Simon, let's start with the New York Yankees, the other team from the AL East to rep in the postseason. Last year, they lost in the wild card round to Houston.
Well, since the beginning of free agency in 1975, this is the first year that the Yankees have not gone out and bought any players. Instead, they went and traded for one of the best closers in baseball in Aroldis Chapman and Starlin Castro, the shortstop, who's got the most hits at that position in the last 5 years. Biggest problem with this team is going to be their starting rotation. The health of Masahiro Tanaka and the consistency of Michael Pineda will determine how legitimate a shot the Yankees actually have at the AL East title.
For the Tampa Bay Rays, the rotation is definitely not going to be a problem. They have Chris Archer, who was top 5 in AL Cy Young voting last year, but the problem for them is going to be, where are they going to find that offense? They acquired Corey Dickerson from the Colorado Rockies in the offseason, and in his last full season, he got 24 home runs in 2014. I think this team is on the cusp of competing for the title, but they're just not there yet.
And if we know one thing about the Baltimore Orioles, it's that they're going to be hitting a boatload of home runs this year. The two newest weapons in their arsenal being Mark Trumbo and Pedro Alvarez. But one thing that lineup has struggled with is their on-base percentage. Another struggle is their rotation. I just don't see them being strong enough to get past 3 of the top 4 scoring teams in the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox.
Well, speaking of the Red Sox, you've got 5 of the last 6 seasons they've missed the playoffs, and that meant big changes. In other words, lots of money being spent, and that beneficiary was David Price, who Toronto fans are very familiar with. Plus, there's no possible way that Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez could be as bad as they were last season. Well, now shifting back to the Toronto Blue Jays and their shot at a second consecutive AL East title. What has to go right for them to have another title this season?
Well, with the improvements to the rest of the division, I find it hard to believe the Jays are going to repeat this year. I see their win total being whittled down from 93 to around 87, but I also see the other wildcard teams in the American League coming from the West and coming from the Central. Those Texas teams look so good this year. Detroit and Kansas City in the Central look dominant as well. So if the Jays don't repeat as AL East champions, I find it hard to see them back in the postseason again.
I just find it hard to imagine a team this good, these Blue Jays, not playing a single playoff game this year. You predicted 87 wins for this team, and that was enough for the Yankees last year to get into that one-game wildcard playoff against the Astros. So I'm seeing at least one playoff game in their future this year.
I just think this team is too gifted offensively not to win the AL East title. And I mean, when I look at this team, I see resiliency, being able to battle through adversity in individual games and in the season. And I think if they can play consistently from the beginning to the end, they'll definitely be in good position to get a second consecutive AL East title.
Well, it's been 20 years, but finally the Blue Jays have a division title to defend. Back to you.
Lance, I'm old enough to remember Timlin's flip to first and the joy that brought me as a kid.
Oh yeah, and for me it's Joe Carter touching them all just a year later in '93.
I'm sure glad too now for that generation that followed us. They now have Jose Bautista's bat flip as that touchstone moment to really hang on to.
I like that touchstone. Man, the hype and the anticipation surrounding opening day this year, it's really unlike anything since the early 90s.
Should be an exciting year and we look forward to that. I'm Rodney Heemstra.
And I'm Lance Phillips. Thanks for watching Taking Flight.